Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Energy Update with me, Rebecca Meisel. So excited to dive into what channeled for us this week. We are moving into Mercury retrograde here this week, and maybe you guys have already been feeling those energies. Maybe you have already been feeling this revisitation happening of some old wounds, some clearing, some karmic clearing perhaps. But this week we've got some really strong advice to help get us through this time and help us really move forward in confidence. We're really moving into this Leo energy, which is all about confidence, pride, healthy ego, self-expression, really showcasing ourselves and our gifts. So we might start seeing these themes come up and the wounds that surround these themes around confidence, around moving forward, about really going for your dreams and what might be holding you back. So be very mindful of what is in resistance to these themes this next little while. So those might be really coming up. So let's dive into what channeled. We have choosing love over fear, finding a new way. You already have the keys to your success. Don't dream it's over. Self-defeat, feeling inflamed and ignored. Okay, nostalgia of the good old days, making you restless. It's now time to bridge the gap. Create a new and exciting future, one you want to live in. Yes, it is possible. Living the human way, not the perfect way. Reminding yourself that it is okay to make mistakes and learn from them. Holding tight to insecurity and meaningless interactions. You are a queen among men. Now let your soul sing. So let's pause there. We have this really beautiful energy coming in that is kind of in disguise. So a lot of us might be feeling the opposite to empowerment right now. A lot of us might be feeling the opposite to self-worth right now, because once again, what does Leo represent? Those powerful energies. I'm here, I'm proud, I'm loud, I have a voice, I'm confident, right? So we might be really feeling the opposite themes, especially throughout this Mercury retrograde right now. So what was the most sound advice here was choosing love over fear. So if you're finding insecurities come in, if you are finding these fears kind of taking over, okay, they're kind of showing me like a very busy mind, a very tumultuous mind. Maybe your nervous system's going a little haywire right now. This is all to be expected because we are learning to step out of this fight or flight to come to this regulation and to choose different. So we need these reminders this week that you can find a new way. So if you're like, everything's falling apart, nothing's working right now, maybe things are a little bit tough, maybe things are, maybe we're hitting some resistance when it comes to our forward movement. That doesn't mean we give up. That doesn't mean we surrender to these fears. That doesn't mean that we surrender to the insecurity, okay? We need to just find a new way. So if you're hitting resistance, if you're hitting a closed door, this is your time to stop, to reevaluate, to recollect yourself and come back to this empowerment that you deserve. So once more, we might not be feeling empowered. And this is where you, as this leader of your life, as this parent to your inner child, need to create it. So they're really showing me the adult version of ourselves, reaching down and taking that inner child's hand, that little version of you. And if it helps, get out an old picture of you as a child and visualize this, taking that little child version of you in their hand and going, come on, we're going to choose different. We're going to find a new direction. We're going to go a new path. And maybe it's going to require courage. Maybe it's going to require such stone true belief within ourselves to do this, but we're going to do it. So when they were saying like finding a new way, we need to create a new way of living our lives, because we all know that if insecurity, self-deprecation, shaming, guilt tripping, telling ourselves that we're never good enough actually worked, we'd all be where we want to be right now. So if these old ways, these fear-based ways are not working, we now need to love and honor ourselves enough to choose different and find a new way that, you guessed it, is coming from a space of love. So this week, take a step back and analyze what has been coming up for you and ask yourself, what is the most loving way for me to proceed? And is that going to mean I need to pivot from my programming, from my knee-jerk reactions? Does that mean I need to take a step back from being in the depth of my emotion and going, no, we're not going to go there. We're not going to loom in that. We're going to feel that because maybe we need to heal it and maybe we need to release it, but I'm not going to linger there. I'm going to choose different this time. And this is what's so beautiful is they're actually showing me, like, don't get lost in this dark hole, okay? Pull yourself out of that and choose different. Realize you already have the keys to your success. So one of the big triggers that might come up this week is that I just don't see how I can succeed. I just don't see a way forward in this. I just don't know how this is ever going to work. And the focus is on the how. So maybe many of you are getting stuck in that. Like, I know I want this goal, but how do I get there? Don't get stuck. Don't go down that black hole of despair. You can do this. You have everything you need within you to succeed. And this is your moment to prove it to yourself, to stand up for yourself against any of those dark thoughts or those fears. So this was so cool because I was literally hearing that song, Don't Dream It's Over. So don't dream it's over. Don't wallow in self-defeat. And they were showing me this feeling of feeling angry, so inflamed, like, and ignored. So maybe you're putting out all this effort and you're pumping out all this work and you're putting all this time and energy into something, into your goal, into your relationship, into your life, whatever this is. And you're just kind of feeling like it's ignored, like it's not being acknowledged. And that's what they're showing me is like a hand pushing all your work away and being like, I don't see it. And it's almost like you're like, well, wait, I'm doing all of this work. I'm doing all of this. And how come it's not being acknowledged? And it's frustrating. And this is where this like anger comes up, this frustration. So once again, one of these big triggers this week might be like, where are you not being seen? Where are you not being acknowledged? Where are you not feeling appreciated for all the things that you are doing, for all of the work that you are doing, okay? And this is, once again, spiraling a lot of us into the self-defeat. It's like, well, whatever I do, it doesn't get acknowledged. All this stuff that I do, it doesn't work out, okay? And this is that mantra that a lot of us are getting stuck in. And to the point where we're even like, well, I wish that things were easier like in the past. So they're kind of showing me this comparison game that we can get locked into. And this is happening a lot right now with our world because a lot of us, we're not happy with how things are. We want change. And it can be really easy for us to be like, remember back when things were easier, right? And we go back and compare. But we're being called not to do that this week. We want to acknowledge the good that already exists here in your current reality instead of wishing for something to be different, instead of wishing for change. How can we come to this contentment? How can we come back to this place of bridging the gap between what was beautiful and making that a reality now? So they're kind of showing me this manifestation practice that a lot of us are going to start moving into because we're realizing this comparison of like, you know, wishing for the past, wishing things to go back to the way they were, is making us restless. It's not helping us in any way. Comparing ourselves, comparing our lives, our world to what was to now, it's not helpful. It's actually just creating a bigger divide within yourself from the abundance that is already here in front of you. It's only causing a deeper well of lack. So they're really showing me that this week we might really be looking at that that deep hole of darkness, that lack we're feeling in our lives or within ourselves or within whatever is coming up for you. But we are being called to once again take charge and bridge the gap. So they said, bridge the gap, create a new and exciting future, one you want to live in. And this is key because once again, we kind of project our problems onto the future. Well, it's always going to be this way. Well, that's not true. Life changes all the time. And just because your past might have had some repetitive cycles, you're breaking those cycles. And this is where the truth needs to land this week. You are breaking these cycles. You're not going to repeat them. So if your mantra in life has been, I'm always ignored, I'm never acknowledged, I'm never appreciated, I'm never loved, well then let's break that. Let's say no to these cycles. Let's make the change. And they're kind of showing me like radical change. Radical action is being called because what is the Leo? Leo is the sign of courage, of strength. So this is where we need to not be giving in and giving our power away to defeat. This is when we need to be standing tall in that warrior energy and going, no. I see you old ways. I see you old patterns. I see you lack. I am not giving in. So they're showing me someone like buckling down and being like, nope, we're not doing this anymore. And this is what brings the excitement, because once we actually realize we have the power to change our thoughts and our perceptions and our old cycles, we then see that now we get to focus on something else. So imagine if you took all the energy and time that you invest into these darker energies, into what's not working, into what's angering you, into what's frustrating you, into what's making you fear and despair, and put all of that time and energy that you invest into that into your future, into the present, into what you actually want in your life. Could you imagine the difference? Well, it will change your life. In fact, it will change your life the moment you decide to do it. So the moment you say no to those thoughts, you put yourself in an empowered space. And they're really showing me that your guides might actually be stepping back a bit this week, because they're showing me someone calling on their guides, help me. And they're like, no, you help you. This is your time to shine. This is your time to see you are powerful, that you can take a stand against these things and make the change and be the change. So we need to create an exciting new future. So if you're lost in this despair, you can't do that. You can't really create a new and exciting future from that, from your past. You can't. So you have to create a new way. How do we do that? The loving way, the empowered way, right? So this is what we're being called to do. Take back your power. Bridge the gap. If you're not happy with how things are, make a change. If you're stuck in nostalgia, go, okay, what were the good things from that I'm being nostalgic about from the past that I want to bring an anchor in now? Well, you can be responsible to do that. So how do you do that? What is within your strength, within your power to create? Okay, so I'm really getting this energy of like, no more victimhood. No more fear. No, let's build something new. And this, once more, generates excitement, okay? So get excited about your life. Get excited about the future instead of the doom and gloom. And I love this because they're like, create the future you want to live in. So once again, this puts us in the driver's seat. This makes us change our perceptions to, oh, this is so annoying, this isn't working, this is awful, to, okay, I'm going to be the change. What life do I want to be living? What is the world that I want to be living in? And you create it for yourself, because we're learning that's possible. Okay, that's what's so cool. Yes, it is possible. That's literally what they said. Yes, it is possible. So shut down the doubts. Shut down those dark thoughts that say it's not. And they're also saying, like, give yourself the freedom to err, okay? Because the other thing that stops us is this insecurity, okay? So we might be like, okay, I'm going to get started on creating this new life. But then it's like, oh, but can I do that? Am I good enough to do that? What do? I have no idea. I don't have the recipe. How do I make life perfect? And then all this pressure comes onto our shoulders and onto our goals instead of living in this creative vortex of freedom of like, hey, I get to create what I want. This is great. This is exciting. I'm going to play and give myself the room to play. And if there's something I create that I don't like, I can change it. Instead, we get caught in this wheel of perfection of like, well, oh my God, I created this, I manifested this in my life, and I don't like it. Instead of like wallowing in that, being like, okay, that just showed me what didn't work and what I actually didn't want. So instead of getting down about it, instead of going, oh my God, I made a mistake, we're now going, oh, that's okay. That's all right. We try again. We do something different. We make the change. It's like we're fine tuning and we're giving ourselves this freedom to just play in our world, to experience our humanness. And I thought that was so beautiful that they brought this up. It's like living a human way, not a perfect way. So do you need this reminder this week? You're human. It's okay. It's okay to be human, okay? Make mistakes, learn from them, okay? So holding tight to insecurity and meaningless interactions. You are a queen among men. Now let your soul sing. Now this is super interesting because they're kind of showing me how instead of giving ourselves this freedom, we're giving ourselves this rigidity. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to manifest this, but only this. And we're letting any outside appearances or opinions or things the way they need to be influence our journey and what we're creating, which creates this rigidity. That's creating this fear, that's creating this insecurity. So they're showing me when someone holding so tightly to their manifestations because they're like, if I release this into the world, I'm so scared of what's going to happen. The judgment, the prejudice, the what. And they're kind of showing me like, but it's meaningless, okay? If people say something against you, they're just showing me that that doesn't need to take from you. That doesn't need to take your power. It only will if you let it and if you allow it. So they're showing me someone who's so in their power. And this is where they're saying you're a queen among men. It's really gender neutral here. What they were more so showing was the high priestess here. So that high priestess energy, that feminine energy. So no matter how you identify, this is going to apply in the energetics here. So the feminine energy is, I don't care about what other people think. I know I'm wonderful. I know I'm great, and I receive everything I need. So that's what they were showing me here in this channeling, was so much about being like, well, I am this goddess energy. I am in this feminine energy where I am receiving only what's good for me. And you can hate if you want to hate, but I'm in my power. So it's not affecting you. And isn't that true? When you know your worth, when you know how wonderful you are, when you embody love for yourself, they're just showing me that any hatred towards you, any negative energy towards you just bounces off. It's like you get this force field around you because you're like, I know I'm great. So those things are not going to get to you the way you think. So what they're showing me is if this is your fear, this is when it's now time to build up this empowerment energy, to build up this empress energy. I am already enough. I am already worthy. So if these things are coming up, this is where your focus needs to be, building the confidence, building this awareness and empowerment within yourself so that anything that comes your way, it just flows off like water off a duck's back. Right? So it's really cool. So from this, we're moving into this empowerment energy, and this is going to affect our relationships. So this way, we're going to have a bit of a spotlight on our relationships in this area of Where is there insecurity? Where is there any lack of equality in your relationships? Where are you feeling disempowered? Where do you need to feel supported and empowered in your life and by your partners and by your friends and by your relationships? And this is what was so beautiful, is this equilibrium is starting to come in. So they're showing me this balance of the scales. So wherever this is in your life, take a notice, okay? Take a notice of your relationships this week. Where are things not balanced? Where do things need to be more balanced? And what can you do to instigate that change? So if something's not working and you know it's not working, they're kind of just showing me, like, use your voice, speak up, say it, be like, okay, what can we do together to make this work? And once again, they're showing me, like, it's not you against them. It is a joint effort. It is this beautiful combination, this beautiful partnership of you and I are together, and this is the problem. So how do we work together to fix this problem? Right? And they're also showing me, like, sending love to the situation, sending love to the issues, sending love to whatever is out of balance, and asking for the help and support you need to bring this to balance. So once again, they're showing me someone feeling very insecure in themselves, where it's like, well, I don't get to have a voice. I don't get to speak up. I've never done that in my life. Like, some of us really have a hard time asking for what we need, and for finding that balance, sometimes we need to speak up and say it. So they're really mentioning it's now time to become equal. Okay, so two halves become whole, receiving equal share of the load. What is there and what to share? Okay, this is so beautiful. So this is helping us really reshape even the abundance within our relationships, because they're kind of showing me someone who's been giving and giving and giving and exerting all this energy, and maybe your partner or your friend or whoever this is in your relationships might have been really on the receiving end, and now it's time to bring this equilibrium. So if you need more, ask for more. If you need help, ask for help. If you need support, ask for that support and let it be given to you. So once again, we're learning to embody this feminine energy, which is, how can I be supported? How can I receive in my life? And once more, they're showing me that it's super important to practice receiving this world in this week. So if you are trying to create a life of abundance, well, you need to be willing to receive abundance. You need to be willing to be given to, and without payment. So they're kind of showing me someone who's like, okay, if you give me something, I need to give you tenfold back. No, just receive the gift. Take the gift. See your worth. See you deserve it. So it's really beautiful, this balance that is starting to be restored. And this release of worry, because they're kind of showing me that we're really worried about this. We're worried about how perhaps people will react or receive us. We're worried, once again, that we're inadequate, that we don't deserve, or we're worried that we'll inconvenience. So if you're someone, you're a known people pleaser, this might be a real hardship for you. It might be a real battle for you to be like, this is what I need, and I need it. And maybe it will inconvenience others, but it is what's required for your well-being. It might be tricky. And so they're just saying, call in the support, call in the goddesses this week. So I'm really seeing goddess energy be super, super potent. So we need to be calling deities like Kuan Yin. We need to be calling in Archangel Jophiel. We need to be calling in Mother Mary. We need to be calling in these really phenomenal energies. So do that. Call in those female energies that can assist you with this empowerment, that can assist you with standing up for yourself, that can assist you in being in this receptive energy. So they're also showing me Joan of Arc. So if you're struggling with speaking up for yourself, call in Joan of Arc, or also Archangel Gabriel, to help you use your voice and speak your truth if this is a tricky area for you. So beautiful. So then what came through here was dreams. Okay, so once more, we've got a really strong energy of creating our dreams, creating the life we want to live, especially with this Leo energy that requires courage, that requires us to believe in ourselves and step into that energy of empowerment. So dreams take time. Don't get impatient with the journey. All will be well if you believe it to be so. So this was so beautiful. Once again, we create our reality. We are the ones every single day with our vibration creating and shaping our future. So if you believe truly that things are going to work out, you're going to create that for yourself. And if you ground that into your energy fields, you're going to attract that effortlessly. And they're kind of showing me as we overcomplicate things. And in theory, it's not that hard, is what they're showing me. Now, as a human being, we're like, well, of course it's hard. It's so hard for us to get ahead. It's so hard for us to get to where we want to be. But they're just kind of showing me, like, if you just drop into the flow of your life, if you just surrendered and stop forcing and stop trying and just let yourself flow with the abundance, receive in your life, anchor in those vibrations, the rush drops away, the worry drops away, the timelines drop away, and we can just welcome it in. So they're kind of showing me we focus way too hard on the how and the work component, and we forget how to balance that with this feminine energy of, well, it's going to take time and it's going to flow and I'm going to let it come in divine timing, and the trust component in that. So they're just showing me we know how to work hard, we know how to create, we know how to do all that masculine energy. We don't need to learn that anymore. What we do need to learn is the opposite. So this week, drop into this, embody the I am empowered, I am enough, I do deserve, I am willing, I'm open to receiving my own good, and I'm not willing to receive lack anymore. And the more we step up into this energy, the more it grounds and anchors. So practice this week. Once again, affirmations will be super empowering. Walks in nature will help release your burdens, ground your energy, and call in more of this oneness energy, which connects you to your abundance. So these are practical ways you can start doing this, using your energy fields, right? Using your own power to call in what you need. So be very mindful this week. What energies am I feeding? The fear and lack, or the opportunity, the excitement? Oh, this is to come. Only good awaits me, right? What would you rather be in? And that's what they're really wanting us to weigh and decipher, and to not get stressed up or attached to timelines, okay? If dreams take time, they take time, but knowing that they will arrive right when they're meant to. And that is where the trust comes in. So from there, we have take a chance. Believing in the power of you again without needing to bend, to tire out needlessly, fight for love and comfort, and joy it shall bring. Bring peace to all your habits and let your soul sing. Imagine a world without darkness, only light. What will fill your days with bliss rather than worry? Target your woes and your goals. What will it take to complete them through peace, not long suffering? Expose the wound, the fear of limited time. Not enough time to accomplish the things you're searching for. Not being who you hope to be. You're skipping steps, not seeing the bright future, only the one draped in failure, gripping onto things too tightly because of your fear. But fear is the illusion. Bear witness to truth. Accusations gone wild, seeing is believing, taking care of all of your thoughts, and taking a stand that safeguards you and prepares. Okay, this was interesting. So when it said take a stand against safeguarding and preparing, this was interesting because they were showing me these thoughts of the ego that keep us small, that fight us from taking a risk. And they're really saying, is this an illusion? Is this an illusion in disguise? So we need to be able to go out on a limb and question the ego. So that's exactly what channel. Take risks and see yourself fly. It's time to be seen again. So let's pause there. So huge energy on taking a chance and stepping beyond what we think is possible, what we believe is safe and familiar, into the unknown, and doing it boldly. So once again, the Leo energy, it's bold and brave. So this is what we need to embody. This is what we need to learn, is this energy. So we need to believe in the power of ourselves. And we need to be able to do so without bending or compromising. So this week we might have instances come up where we're going to be asked to bend, where we might be asked to stay small or step back or compromise. And they're like, no. This is not that time to be doing that. This is the time to be taking risks. This is the time to be bold. This is the time to believe in yourself so fiercely that no matter what comes your way, you are going to face it with confidence. So squash the fear, squash the doubt, squash the people-pleasing ways this week. You need to start thinking more about your life and about what you truly want and claiming that. So this was cool because once again, they're showing me this, this need to please, okay? Well, I want to do this. I want to do it all, and I'll do it for you for like half price, right? They're kind of showing me that. No, button that. Close that down. No, okay? This is the time for you to be thinking about your needs. So what I thought was really key here was believe in the power of you again without needing to bend, to tire out needlessly. This was cool because once more, they're showing me us funneling all this energy into what we're doing without the payoff. So we need to find a way where it's like we see we're deserving and we see that we also need to have our needs met. So if you're funneling all this energy out without any payoff, you're tiring yourself out. You're burning yourself out. You're not meeting your needs. This is where we now need to change the energy. So they're kind of showing me us fighting for just anything we can get, and shifting this to, if we're going to fight, if we're going to put all this energy out, well, we might as well be gaining something from this. So how can you gain something from this and start thinking that way? Okay, so it's like, if I'm going to put all this love out into the world, if I'm going to put all this energy, if I'm putting everything out for others, how can I also receive from this? So they're showing me this imbalance in the giving and receiving. Well, I'll do everything for you and I'll get pennies in return, and that's okay. And they're showing me this illusion of, well, I'm a good person if I forfeit my needs. Well, we need to reframe this. We need to start stripping away the illusion and glorifying that being selfless in that respect, when it damages you, when it infringes on your own respect, your own bodily needs, that's actually a problem. So they're bringing this awareness this week to possible burnout, to this lack, because we believe that that's what we need to do to receive anything. And this might stem from deep unworthiness, inadequacy. Maybe this stems from deeply ingrained programs. I need to give people that I love everything that I have so I can show that I love them without any regard to yourself. No, we need to start getting this equilibrium, my friends. We need to start fighting for love and comfort and joy it shall bring. This is what channeled. So I thought this was interesting because at first I was like, isn't this a bit of a contradictory message? Fight for love, because a lot of times when messages come through about love, it's like, well, just receive it openly and let it come with ease and grace. But they're kind of showing me that we might need to fight our ego. We might need to fight these wounds within ourselves, in a sense of like, I'm not going to fall into that trap anymore of people pleasing. I'm not going to fall into that trap where none of my needs are met. And we might need to fight those programs. And this is where the empowerment steps in. No, I deserve more. I deserve what I need in my life, and allowing yourself to claim it. And this brings peace, because once you have your needs met, you don't feel that lack anymore. You don't feel the anger anymore. You don't feel the angst anymore, because you're like, well, all my needs are met. I'm good, right? So can you create that future for yourself? So this is what channel next. Bring peace to all your habits and let your soul sing. Imagine a world without darkness, only light. What will fill your days with bliss rather than worry? So a lot of us are worried about, how do I meet my needs, right? A lot of us are worried about that. And this might come up. So what we need to do, how can I bring peace to my worries? What is required for me to do that in my life? How can I bring bliss to my days? How can I put the focus there, right? So how do we create this life? This is what we got to start thinking about. And once again, taking the big and bold actions to change the reality we're in. Okay? So I love how they said, target your woes and your goals. What will it take to complete them through peace, not long suffering? So if we're in the fight or flight, if we're like, I need to get this done, I need to do this, I need to do that, this is where they want us to slow down and go, whoa, hold on. Reevaluate your motives here. Are you doing this deep down because there's a wound? Are your actions coming from wounding, or are they coming from real love for yourself? And how can we do our projects, our tasks with peace, right? So every day we have a choice to complete our days and our tasks on our lists in a flurry, in stress and anxiety and worry, or through love, through peace, through this divine feminine energy. So we have a choice. How do you want to create your daily experience? And how can you target these areas and fill them with peace? What are the actions you can take? So they're kind of showing me restructuring our schedules a bit so they actually suit us, right? So sometimes that can be hard if we have a 9-to-5. But they're showing me little ways that we can do this, like taking an hour before you go to work or after work just for yourself to decompress, to meditate, to read, to go for a walk, to do whatever it is you need to be at peace. And they're just showing me the importance of doing this before work, especially because a lot of us, we just rush out the door, we rush to work, and we're in this kind of like, the moment we're there. So they're kind of showing me like, have a slow morning, take your time. Did you have a moment to just savor yourself, savor your coffee, savor your breakfast? Like, how can you give yourself these moments in your life where everything is starting off beautifully? Right? Can you start your day with an affirmation? Can you put on some positive, uplifting music or podcasts on your commute to work, on your walk to work? You know, just implementing even the littlest things to help give your mind this beautiful start to each day and carrying that through your day. So they're really showing me this importance of taking the time and prioritizing your peace no matter what is happening. Now, once more, this takes me back to exposing the wound, okay? So target the woe, target the wound. Where am I getting this rush from? And a lot of us are going to be exposing this wound of well, I need to do something great before I die. Or I'm running out of time because the clock is ticking. And they're showing me this energy of like, I need to be at this certain age before I, to complete this. I need to be at this age so I can do this, this, and this. And they're showing me all these timelines and time restraints that we've put on ourselves, or society has put on ourselves. Oh, we should be married, we should have kids, we should be this, we should have our own home by this time, we should have blah, 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 right? And those standards are completely unrealistic for most of us. So they're kind of going, whoa, whoa, whoa. Once again, take a step back. This is Mercury retrograde. This is time to be looking at these things. Where am I acting from this wound as opposed to what's actually good for me? Where am I pushing myself too hard because of unrealistic expectations? And where am I not allowing myself to be in the flow of my life? Where am I not allowing myself the freedom to do things on my own time, my own schedule, and giving myself the freedom to live? Okay? So we need to expose the wound. Let's release this fear of not being enough. This fear of, I need to be at this place by this time. And this was so cool because they're showing and illuminating this wound as skipping steps, okay? So when we do that, when we put a timeline on our lives, on our goals, on our dreams, on what needs to be done, we're not allowing ourselves to be fulfilled because we're rushing through things. Right? We're not allowing ourselves to see the future as bright and wonderful and seeing what could be beyond even that goal, right? So we need to allow ourselves to release this fear of failing and this need to hold so tight, okay? So fear is the illusion. Isn't that so true? Fear, it's an illusion. It's holding you back from the beauty that's already around you. It's holding you back from the truth that's right in front of you at this very moment. And this is where they're saying, now it's time to bear witness to the truth. What lies beyond your fear? What lies beyond the rush? What lies beyond all these things that you imagine that might not ever happen? Okay, now this is where they said accusations gone wild. So once again, this is where we're like, this is going to happen and this is what this is and blah, 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 blah. We're like making these accusations that might not even be true about our lives, about the world, about our future. It's a little presumptuous. So they're kind of going, no. It's time to take care of your mind. It's time to look to these thoughts and take a stand against those thoughts that are going haywire, that are trying to keep you safe and prepare you for the worst. These are the thoughts that are going to be the alarm bells. So they're kind of going, any thought that comes in that's like, oh, well, we can't do that because we need to stay safe. Any thought that is trying to prepare you for the worst case scenario, those are thoughts from our ego. And this is where we need to have the bravery to see beyond the curtain. Well, what would happen beyond this fear? What are the possibilities? What else could be possible? Because here I am making these accusations that this is the way it's going to be, but it might not be that way at all. Right? This is where we need to have the maturity to question these fears, these belief systems, these thoughts. And what's so empowering is that's what they are. They're just thoughts. They're not really real. Not yet. So how can we once again take the driver's seat? See, the fear is an illusion, okay? And we can go beyond it. And this is where when we go beyond the fear, we see just how squandered we were in our lives, how small we've been keeping ourselves in our lives out of fear. So take a stand. And that's what was so cool is they're like, these thoughts are illusions in disguise. So what seems true, it might not be. So go out on a limb, take risks, and see yourself fly. And I love this because once again, it's like, well, it's impossible for me to fly. I can't fly. But it's like, see yourself flying, right? Sometimes we need to question the narratives. So it's time to be seen again. This is so cool. So then what came through was choking on glory, unable to swallow it down, unable to swallow the fact that you are already here. Primal understanding. You are already actualizing your dreams. See it, believe it, and it shall already be yours. Make peace every day. Remain hopeful. Your dreams are within reach. So amazing. So a lot of us this week, we might be having a hard time realizing our glory, realizing we already are enough, realizing the truth. And this is where they're showing me like the choking on glory, where it's like, I just can't accept this. I need to get rid of this. I can't swallow this down. So some of us are going to notice this reaction to when goodness comes into our lives, when we start realizing we are powerful, we are able, we are capable. It might be really hard for us to accept. So notice this and work with this, but allow yourself to see the truth. And this is where, once again, we need to be working with our throat chakras this week. What is really the truth here? What is a lie? What is an illusion? What is a program that I've been telling myself? And what am I now wanting and ready to claim? Am I ready to claim my abundance? Am I ready to see that I'm already enough? Am I ready to be glorious right where I am? Empowered where I am? It's time to take it, my friends. So you already are actualizing your dreams. And that's what's so beautiful is so many of us have failed to see that we already are in a new timeline. And this is where the energies have sped up so much. And even if you think of just 6 months ago, a year ago, where you were to where you are now, you're going to see a huge difference. You're going to see just how far forward you've already sprung in your journey. So even if things feel hard right now, even if things don't look the way you envisioned right now, how can you tell and see the difference yourself even within this short time frame of the progress you have made and how you already are living a different reality? Because it's true, so many of us have had these huge leaps forward, and we need to acknowledge that. We need to digest it. We need to swallow the truth, which is, I'm already here. I'm already doing it. I'm already creating the dream. And the more we affirm this, the more it becomes real. So see it, believe it, and it shall already be yours. That's the key. And they're really showing me like that is the key. Embody your manifestation. Embody the person you want to be, you're trying to be. Just be it. Take the actions from your aligned higher self. So this week, ask yourself each day, am I taking an action from fear, or am I taking an action from astounding love for myself? Am I taking an action my higher self would take? That version of me that I'm trying to become, would they make this choice or would they make this choice, right? And the answers become clear.